son. Where'd you find this?
Just do it! Make your dreams come true!
A few moments later.
You are now listening to Podcast 42, the world's most popular, inaccurate, and sometimes squirreled retelling of pop culture history.
Well, it makes like a big noise over the microphone.
If the world we must defend, Pokemon.
You only know like 10 lines from that whole song, and it's the chorus.
I courage will pull us through. You teach me and I'll teach you Pokemon.
And on that note...
You started recording! Of course you did.
Of course.
Of course you did.
Did you know we're not really talking about Pokemon?
Yeah, we are talking about Pokemon.
We're talking about Digimon. You got confused.
Oh, no.
Digimon is like the second cousin and nobody likes.
What about Yu-Gi-Oh?
See, there you go.
I don't know any of those. I just know Pokemon, which is a good thing because that's what we're talking about today.
Right, and we're Podcast 42, and who are you?
I'm Nicole Fasone.
I'm Christopher DeVos.
I'm JL Troegs.
I'm Faraz. Hey.
Someday he
Madonna.
will get a last name.
Go to the website. His last name's on
Hey,
there.
is his last
Good,
name.
because I still don't know how to say it. I'm lucky to say Faraz.
Well, let's open up the beer cooler.
JL's beer cooler, it's cooler than you think. JL's beer cooler, it's cool enough to drink. It's cool enough to drink, yeah.
What did you put in there, JL?
Oh, sorry, I already started drinking it. I got from, I believe it's pronounced Troegs Independent Brewing, the Nugget Nectar Ale. And it looks like it's only made once a year because it says that.
Well,
Once a
there you go.
year.
Yeah. Color straw orange. Ooh.
It has an interesting flavor on this very first sip.
IBUs are 93-ish, 7.5 ABV.
It says, it is impossible to forget your first squeeze. Once a year, the newest lupulus harvest.
Lupus, that's a disease.
I know, it's never lupus. The newest humulus lupulus harvest arrives at Troegs. We blend these super fresh hops into an imperial amber ale. Excessively dried, hopped Nugget Nectar is an explosion of pine, resin, and mango.
Well, they use 5 different hops: Nugget, Warrior, Tomahawk, Simcoe, and Palisade.
And
What is this label? It's very aggressive.
He's holding a hop.
Yeah, they're squeezing a hop.
Yeah, I like the label. I'm going to give the label a 4.
Yeah.
I like it.
Which might be more than what he gives the beer.
It's a very intimidating logo.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the rating at the very end of the show.
For Faraz to explain.
This week, Nicole picked the subject, and what was it again?
Pokemon!
Pokemon!
Yay!
Never heard of it.
My childhood, all right here.
All right,
being the
everyone
baby
get
of the
their
group.
notebooks.
Oh, we're doing trivia first?
right.
Trivia
Dude,
first.
I thought our new we were recording up right by a Poke Spot,
You
so I was
blue?
just gonna go try and catch something. I thought I was blue.
You have one, Chris?
No, it's pop quiz. I'm the quiz master.
Yeah, this is Faraz. I'm blue.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
WDW.
confused.
There you go. Or yeah.
Blue.
You have a pen, Dale?
I need a pen, please.
I just
Nope,
put one
have
here.
one. Never mind.
All right. This
Our
pop
lady friend gave me one.
This pop quiz is called Can You Diglet? Or Never Gonna Give You Up, Rick Ghastly.
I would have liked the first one more if you said, "Can you Diglet?" Sucker.
I don't know that.
I could dig it.
Is that a wrestler?
Yeah, Booker T.
I
Okay.
could dig it.
But either way, I like it.
This is 5 general knowledge facts on Pokemon in order of the easiest to the hardest to test you and our audience's knowledge. Score 1 point for each correct answer. Yeah. Question number 1. If your opponent sends out a flying type Pokemon, which type of Pokemon should you counter with? He's sending you a flying type. How are you going to counter that Pokemon? Thinking caps.
I've never played Pokemon.
No, I sort of played it.
I haven't played in years.
I watched the cartoon, and that's what I grew up with.
Well, you should know this then.
But I didn't watch it
You just said you watched it. I'm so confused. Did you watch it or not watch it?
I didn't watch it for the educational value.
Oh,
I only watched it for the entertainment, so I never really picked up the lessons it was trying to teach me.
There were lessons?
There were lessons.
Apparently, which Pokemon to use on the another kind of Pokemon.
Well,
What do you feel bad about?
I think I know the answer, but I'm worried that if I get it wrong, it's going to be bad.
You
don't
get
because
a
you
point.
picked the episode.
I know.
Question 2. You want to evolve a Pokemon into Kadabra and then into the powerful Alakazam. What basic Pokemon do you need? From Kadabra to Alakazam. But what Pokemon are you starting with?
One spoon.
I know.
Stare.
Oh, God.
Am I allowed to look it up on my Pokemon Go app?
No.
No, you cannot.
Question 3. Your opponent's Pokemon just put your Pokemon to sleep. How can you wake your Pokemon up immediately? Poking its butt is not the correct answer.
That's not what I was going to do.
Pokemon's asleep. How do you wake it up? Question 3. Question 4. What is the heaviest Pokemon? The heaviest Pokemon. Hint, it's not Generation 1.
Wait, what?
Well, no, wait
that
a
mean?
second.
I don't understand what this
Why
means.
would you put anything about anything that's not Generation 1? Because that's like cheating.
Nope, it's not cheating.
It is cheating.
It's not cheating.
What does that mean?
Not enough of us followed after
What does it
Generation
mean?
1, the best of all the generations.
That's why it's in the category number 4. It's harder than category number
So there
1.
were the original 150 Pokemon.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then there's everything that
There's
was
the Johto,
lesser,
the
gooder
Kanto.
after.
I think it's not in. I don't think it's in the first generation.
I hope it's not.
Question number 5. How many different types of Pokeballs are there? And name 3 of them. How many
Wait a minute,
different
they
types
have
of
names.
Pokeballs?
I thought they were just went by color.
There are different colors?
Yes, I know they're different colors,
They
but I
have
didn't know they have
names.
different names.
They
Yes.
have names.
What? Why?
There's many of them. How many? And name 3. Question 5. How many Pokeballs? Name 3.
Can you read question 3 one more time?
Question 3.
How do you wake up the
is,
Pokemon that's
How do you wake
asleep?
up the
Okay.
Pokemon that's asleep? And poking it in the butt was
Oh, my
incorrect.
gosh.
I know. This is so
Poking it with a
hard.
sharp stick
What
is
what
also
this-
incorrect.
What is this questions?
This is your Pokemon quiz.
I know, but I'm doing so bad.
All right, everyone ready?
Sure.
I think for us is blank paper. Question 1. If your opponent sends out a flying type Pokemon, what type of Pokemon should you counter with? Nicole.
I said grass.
JL.
Rock.
Faraz.
I said Earth type.
We're all wrong. The answer is electric.
Wow.
Boogie woogie woogie woogie.
That would make sense because electricity goes through the air.
Now, okay.
I know I definitely got number 2 right.
I do
thankfully.
too. I know. I think I got that one too.
I think Faraz did not.
No.
You want
But,
to...
but when you learn the name, it'll make so much sense.
It will make much more sense. You want to evolve a Pokemon into Kadabra and then into the powerful Alakazam? What basic Pokemon do you need for Roz?
Digimon.
No. JL.
Abra.
Nicole.
Abra!
Abra.
Abra, Kadabra,
It's really
Alakazam.
Oh.
You get it?
I get it.
Okay. Your Pokemon. Your Pokemon's asleep. How do you wake it up? Nicole?
Question mark.
Question mark? Like you draw a question mark on it?
Yes.
You-
Some kind of
you revive
antidote.
it. It's what you do.
No,
You
revive is
it.
when they're dead.
They don't die.
I know, but that means you don't revive it.
But if it's asleep
No.
for a long sleep, you
No.
revive it.
JL?
Anyway.
That was my answer.
You just revive it?
Yeah.
You like perform CPR on it?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Faraz?
With a Cortana alarm.
That's actually correct.
Yes, high five.
No, it's not correct because Cortana wasn't around when Pokemon first started. The Handy Awakening that can be purchased at any Pokemart.
You
And
said the
wake up-
Handy Awakening?
Yes.
The Handy Awakening.
The
That is
Handy
very
Awakening.
close to the finger in the butt.
Question 4. What is the heaviest Pokemon? Anybody?
Snorlax.
Nope.
I said Snorlax.
Nope.
I put Megazord.
What's that?
Something from
That's from
Power
Godzilla.
Rangers.
Gruudon?
I don't know.
Groudon.
See, nobody knows what that is because nobody knows
Oh.
anything past first gen.
He weighs 2,094 pounds.
Wow. You know, if I didn't say Snorlax, I probably would have said Onyx because
was
he
my
is
other
just
thought, too.
he is just solid rock snake.
Solid as a rock.
She said solid rock snake. Is that...
Yeah.
It's a porno reference.
You
Yeah.
really don't know any Pokemon, do you? Do you know Pikachu?
Yeah, I read it.
I really
Okay.
wish we were recording this like visually so everyone could see the blank stare on Faraz's face.
And we should have done that last week for me with Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's different. Now instead of 3 blank stares, we only have 1 blank stare.
Wait, what?
What?
We had so much conversation about
We
Star
did. It
Wars.
was a very good episode. I highly recommend the Star Wars politics episode.
I messaged you so many times discussing it.
And I ignored them all because you need to call me when the messenger's over 3 paragraphs.
I don't believe in phone calls.
How many different types of Pokeball are there? And name 3 of them. Faraz.
I have 7 with a semicolon.
What does that mean?
It means I was going to fill in the rest, and I just gave up.
Okay, so you don't have any names?
No.
All right, JL?
I have 6.
What are their names?
Raw balls, blue balls, and balls deep.
Yay! That's a good one. I like that one.
You're clever.
That's a whole different Pokemon series.
Yes, it is.
Does it involve the rock snake?
Either way, you gotta catch them all.
Stop. I don't want to hear about the rock snake. Nicole.
So I put 6, and I'm thinking that it might be more than that, but I put Great Ball, Master Ball, and Ultra Ball. And I know those are at least 3 of them.
Yes, you have 3 names.
There's also the Pokeball. There's the Safari Ball.
Wait a minute. It's really just called the Pokeball?
Yeah. That's like the lowest tier.
Yeah.
And then you work your way up
All
to
right.
the Great
So
and then the
to
Ultra.
your 6, you need to add 20 more.
There are-
21 more balls.
Okay, but how many then came out
Seriously?
after first
Yes.
gen is the problem.
27 Pokeballs.
Fuck, do you need that many for?
Some of
Ooh,
them are
sorry.
the Beast Ball, the Cherish Ball, the Dive Ball, Dream Ball, Dusk Ball.
Yeah, those are all new. I
There's
don't
the
follow
Mewtwo
that.
Ball.
Ooh,
There's
that one
the
makes
old
sense.
ball.
There's a
No,
Mewtwo
there
ball?
is not a Mewtwo ball. There's
There is
a
a
Master
Mewtwo
ball,
ball.
and you have to save that through your entire game to get Mewtwo.
There's a Mewtwo ball.
This is some BS right here.
It's also known as the Clone Ball. It has 2
Maybe
names.
you shouldn't have quit playing when you did.
There's the Great Ball, the Heal
I could call my
Ball,
sister.
the
She
Heavy
could
Ball,
school us on it.
The heavy ball.
Can I have
the
another
Nest
one,
Ball,
please?
the Net Ball, the Park Ball, Pokeball, Premier Ball, Quick Ball, Repeat Ball, Safari Ball, Sport Ball,
I feel
Timer
like you
Ball.
just repeated that ball just to repeat it.
There's the balls.
There are multiple balls.
Those are
Okay.
the multiple balls.
Sounds like a good night.
All right, Nicole, start us off.
Okay, Satoshi Tajiri first thought of Pokemon, although he named them capsule monsters, around 1989 when the Game Boy was first released. Tajiri drew inspiration for the idea from his love of insect collecting. While growing up, he watched as the urbanization of his hometown continually threatened the dwindling insect population. Tajiri noticed that more and more kids were playing inside their homes instead of outside, and he came up with the idea of using creatures that were fashioned after insects. He thought kids could relate with the Pokemon by individually naming them, and then controlling them as a good way of relieving stress.
You know, if this guy was doing this today, there would be no kids outside ever.
Nope.
So he never would have invented Pokemon.
That's why they came up with Pokemon Go, to get kids outside. So he was on the right track, and it just...
But
yeah.
if he was doing it today and he was in Florida, he wouldn't be collecting insects either because those are scary here.
In the game, players are designated as Pokemon trainers and go about collecting all of the available Pokemon species found in the fictional region where the game takes place. These themes of collecting, training, and battling are present in almost every version of the Pokemon franchise, including the video games, the anime and manga series, and the Pokemon trading card
You
game.
left out the hentai again.
Yes, we left that out. Is it manga? Is that how you say that? I never know how to say
Manga.
that. Is it manga? I always say
Yes.
manga.
I've always said manga.
Okay,
too.
now wait a second. So I say Mario, and you're all like, "No, it's Mario." I
Right.
say manga, and you're like, "No, it's manga."
No,
Like-
I'm not correcting you. I'm asking.
I'm just saying it's funny. I'm finally pronouncing something one way, and you guys are saying it's like with a New York
Right. Well,
way.
you're definitely wrong on Mario.
No, it's Mario.
I don't know, but all I know is I caught a corpish.
When I was growing up in Canada, it was Mario.
Jail's actually
you mean
playing
Canada?
Pokemon. He's getting into the spirit of the episode.
I am. I'm going to try and catch an oddish right now.
Executor.
In the Pokemon
Oddish.
universe, a trainer who encounters a wild Pokemon is able to capture that Pokemon by throwing a specially designed tool called a Pokeball at it. There's 27 of them, by the way.
Meh.
If the Pokemon is unable to escape the confines of the Pokeball, it is considered to be under the ownership of that trainer. Afterwards, it will obey whatever commands it receives from its new trainer, unless that trainer doesn't know what he or she is doing, like Faraz, in which case the Pokemon may act out on its own.
Why'd you say Pokemon there?
I'm trying to be like gender.
He's thinking
I'm trying
about
to
the
include
rock snake
all the
again.
all the genders. So
Rock snake.
trainers can send out any of their Poke women into battle against other Poke transvestites. A Pokemon is successful in battle if it knocks out its opponent out or causes the opponent to faint. The winning Pokemon gains experience points and may level up. When leveling up, the Pokemon's battling stats such as attack and speed increase. JL's leveling up right now.
I am.
At certain levels, the Pokemon may also learn new abilities. Also, many species of Pokemon can undergo a form of metamorphosis and transform into similar but stronger species of Pokemon. This is called evolution, such as Abra into Abracadabra.
Or just Kadabra, and then into Alakazam.
Yes.
In 1981, at the age of 17, Tajiri began writing and editing a fanzine called Game Freak, which he would continue until 1986. Game Freak was a handwritten labor of love in which Tajiri penned his observations of the Japanese video arcade industry and stapled the pages together himself. Ken Sugimori would later illustrate the first 151 Pokemon, saw the magazine as at a doujinshi shop, and joined the show.
That was really good.
So glad you
What is
gave
a
him all the hard stuff.
doujinshi
I'm
shop?
sure you pronounced it wrong still, but you got it closer than any of us, I think.
Yeah.
But what is it? Do we know?
It's a dojo mixed with...
The comic store?
Yes.
Oh.
So
Oh, are
you
you serious?
train and all that. So you go and do your training there, and then you leave with comics.
You look
or
very
manga.
serious. I don't know whether to doubt you or not.
They only have Hong Kong Fooey in there, though.
Oh, man. He was the greatest superhero.
It says doujinshi is the Japanese term for self-published works, usually magazines, manga, or novels.
Wow.
So close.
I liked my definition,
But it was wrong.
but it was good. As the magazine grew, Tajiri began to realize that most games were lacking in quality and fun. So he and Sugimori decided to make their own games. Game Freak became a video game development company in 1989. The two pitched their first game, an arcade-style game called Quinty, to Namco, who agreed to publish the game. In Quinty, you play as Carton, and you must save your girlfriend who was kidnapped by Carton's younger sister, Quinty.
Now, this may sound very stereotypical, but I think only a Japanese person could go from a writer to making his own video games.
You know, that's probably really true.
I couldn't do it.
Why?
I don't know how to code.
Oh, I don't either.
You do.
Yes,
you know how
you
to
do.
say. You know how to say "Hello World."
That's what all I know how to do.
That's because he used to work for Hello Kitty.
Satoshi Tajiri first conceived the idea of Pokemon in 1990. The idea was inspired after seeing that a Game Boy could communicate with other Game Boys. He thought the Game Boys could be used to have friends do more than simply play against each other. Maybe they could also trade with each other.
You needed that. You needed that cable.
Yeah.
So complicated.
It came with the cable.
It didn't come. You had to buy the cable.
No, I
Did
thought it
not-
came with the
no.
cable.
I don't know this. I played
Yeah,
Game
I
Gear.
don't know.
No, you had to buy the
Oh,
cable
Sega.
separately.
Yeah.
When he first pitched the idea of Pokemon to Nintendo, they could not quite grasp the concept, but were impressed enough with Tajiri's game design reputation that... Wait, what? But were impressed enough with Tajiri's game design reputation that they decided to give it a chance. The game's title of Capsule Monsters went through several transitions due to trademark difficulties, becoming Capumon and Capumon with a K. Before eventually settling upon Pocket Monsters, and ultimately the shortened version of Pocket Monsters, Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Yay! The first Pokemon games, titled Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue, took 6 years to produce.
Wow.
It nearly bankrupted Game Freak in the process. The company barely had enough money to pay its employees. 5 employees quit, and Tajiri did not take a salary, but instead lived off his father's income.
That must be nice. I want to live off my dad's income.
Yeah, me too. It's not going to happen. An offer of investment came from Creatures Inc., another video game company, which allowed Game Freak to complete the 2 games. In return, Creatures received 1/3 of the franchise rights, which is like receiving 2 Pikachus and a Bulbasaur for every Snorlax purchased.
What? That's not my...
Who came with that monetary value?
That's Chris's line, not mine.
Way to go.
Snorlaxes are very expensive and tough to catch.
You don't buy Snorlaxes.
You don't
buy a
have to,
Snorlax.
but they're tough to catch.
You have to walk
So
up to
that
them in
being
the
very
middle
rare,
of a bridge or...
It's tougher to catch
No.
Snorlax than it is Bulbasaur or Pikachu, so I understand what Chris is saying.
If these were real, you could go down to the corner and buy a Snorlax. You don't have to go catch it. Somebody would be a Snorlax salesman, maybe underground Snorlax salesman, but you could definitely purchase whatever Pokemon you want.
Can you find me an Onix salesman? Because I really need to catch an Onix.
There was definitely a
You
point
really
in the
need
game.
the rock snake?
I need the rock snake.
There's definitely a point in the game where you could buy Pokemon.
See?
But Snorlax was not one of them. That was one of the rare Pokemon that you had to
In
encounter.
the game, but I'm talking real life.
Like poaching.
Yes.
Like my next door
I
neighbor.
believe that there would be Pokemon poachers.
Yeah.
My
Why
next door
not?
neighbor sells Oxycontin out of his car and Snorlax.
Oh, good to know.
They both
Do they have the same effect?
They
Does your
do.
neighbor watch
Well,
the show?
I mean, if you ever seen a Snorlax, he's probably pretty high on Oxycontin. He's just laying there. The gameplay went like this. The player begins in their hometown of Pallet Town. After venturing alone into the tall grass, the player is then stopped by Professor Oak, a famous Pokemon researcher, and he explains that wild Pokemon may be living there, and encountering them alone can be very dangerous. That's how all of the Pokemon games, Red and Blue and Yellow, start off.
Oh,
And The Legend of Zelda.
how
It
does
could be
green
dangerous out
start
there.
off?
Take
Huh?
this.
How does green start
I don't
off?
know. I didn't play anything.
Didn't Final Fantasy
I
start the
played
same
Gold
way?
and
I don't know.
Silver, but I did not play anything past Gold and Silver. Those were the last of
Which
the
is
new
why
ones.
you only know first generation.
So that's how Link got his
Exactly.
sword.
Nah.
Professor Oak takes the player to his laboratory where she meets Oak's grandson, a rival aspiring Pokemon trainer. The player and the rival are both instructed to select a starter Pokemon for their travels. The choices being either Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Charmander. I would always pick Charmander.
Yeah, me too.
Oak's grandson will always choose the Pokemon which is stronger because he's a cheating little bastard against the player's starting Pokemon. He will then challenge that player to a Pokemon battle with their newly obtained Pokemon and will continue to battle the player at certain points throughout the game.
So basically, if you think of the three elements of Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander, you have grass, water, and fire. So if you pick Charmander, which is a fire Pokemon, Gary is always going to pick Squirtle because water will always defeat fire.
I know, he's a cheating bastard. That's what I
Yeah.
said.
I know. I'm just further
So,
explaining
with that being
how
said,
it would work.
when you played, who did you always pick?
You know, you have to think about what all of the other ones are that you're going to have to come into contact with.
She puts a lot of thought into this.
I
This
know.
is good.
You have to think long term.
Well, this
Not
is the
with, like,
difference
who's the
between
cool-
men and women because we pick Charmander because his tail's on fire and that's really cool.
Badass.
And you're thinking long-term game. That's good.
Exactly.
See,
so
I always thought about which one evolved into the cooler one
I
later on.
never. I'll tell you
And
this.
Charizard was badass.
I
yeah.
never picked
Fire,
Bulbasaur.
fire.
Never picked Bulbasaur. It was always either Squirtle or Charmander. But I am a water sign, zodiac,
So what you're saying is
and water usually
you
will
naturally
do well.
gravitate to Squirtle.
Water usually does well against rock and fire, which are two of the most powerful types that are out there. You know, it doesn't. There are not as many electric Pokemon which are going to take it down.
So you're a Squirtle.
I'm a Squirtle.
You're a Squirtle. That would make Faraz Bulbasaur, and Chris and I are going to fight over who's Charmander.
That's fine.
I'm gonna pick the Rock Snake. That's my starting Pokemon. While visiting the region cities, the player will encounter special establishments called gyms. Inside these buildings are gym leaders, each of whom the player must defeat in a Pokemon battle to obtain a total of 8 gym badges. Why are you taking pictures of the
I'm
script?
sending it to my sister because she's sending me extra Pokemon.
It's
packs.
online.
Just
Okay.
talking. Why are you getting
That was
distracted?
just really weird. I'm reading, and Nicole's over to my right, and she's taking pictures of the script.
I'm glad you know your left from your right, Chris.
I had to think about it. I had to do the little L with my fingers behind the computer. You didn't see
Did
that?
you really pause for that? I didn't notice.
Yeah, I did pause.
Oh.
Once the badge, thanks for pointing it out. Once the badges are acquired, the player is given permission to enter the Indigo League, which is run by the Indigo Girls and consists of the best Pokemon trainers ever.
Because they walk like Egyptians.
No, that's
Walk
a different
like
band.
an Egyptian.
That's
The Bengals.
yes. There, the player will battle the Elite Four and finally the new champion.
Who are probably the Go-Go's.
Heaven is the place on Earth.
That's right. And they like to go on vacations because they got to get away. Throughout the game, the player will also have to battle against the forces of Team Rocket.
I love Team Rocket.
I know, they're the best. Consisting of Jesse and James, a criminal...
and Meowth. Sorry. Is that coming up? You can't forget about him. He's critical.
Keep taking your pictures.
I know. A criminal organization that abuses Pokemon for fun and profit. They devise numerous plans for stealing rare Pokemon, and Jesse's hair is always on point.
It
Hold on,
never
wait.
messes up.
Can we
It
go
never
back
messes
there?
up.
So
We're talking about Jesse's hair.
they're stealing Pokemon
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
profit. So
yes,
they're selling
they're
it.
always trying
right?
to catch. They're the poachers.
Which is, that's kind of supports Chris's point from earlier.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you
Yes.
for
So that's an in-universe poacher.
So now his Snorlax comment is making sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense.
yeah, you would go to Team Rocket
All
to
we
buy
had
your
to do
Pokemon.
was get to another page. While working on Pokemon, Tajiri also assisted in the design of 2 Mario spin-off games for Nintendo.
I believe that's pronounced Mario.
Yoshi, and the Japanese-only release, Mario and Wario.
I believe that's pronounced...
Oh, so it's Mario and Wario. All right, now I understand it. All right,
God.
so there we go.
A
So
is
Mario
a
and
vowel
Wario.
and can have multiple different ways of pronunciation.
I believe
So
it's
Why
it
a
is,
vowel also?
Yushi.
it is Mario and Wario.
And it's pronounced Yushi.
Yes, Yushi.
Yushi.
I hate you all.
I know.
Once the games were completed, very few media outlets were excited, believing the Game Boy was a dead console. Furthermore, a general lack of interest of merchandising convinced Tajiri that Nintendo would reject the entire thing. The Pokemon games were not expected to do well, but sales steadily increased until the series found itself among Nintendo's top franchises.
I mean, I can't believe that. You play the game. It's good. It's a good game.
It is.
How can you not believe in the product? I mean, you know a bad game when you play it right away.
Yes, you can tell when there's a bad game.
Yes.
Well, unless you get to the very end, then you realize, like, oh man, all this is for nothing. Like Mass Effect 3.
Or Life is Strange. Life is Strange had a very disappointing ending.
I don't know this game.
Like, there are good movies, too, that have just really bad endings where they just fall
actually
apart.
really
And it's
don't
like,
know the
I just wasted 2 hours. Like, I was on this emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
Like Mass Effect 3.
Mass Effect 3 was a movie?
It was a video game
Oh,
that felt like I was in a movie, that felt like I was in an experience of my lifetime.
Like Starship Troopers?
Well, maybe
No.
we can do a Mass Effect 3 show, but right now we should go back to Pokemon. Pokemon.
The franchise actually helped Nintendo, whose sales had been slow. Tajiri deliberately toned down violence in his games, as the Pokemon creatures would faint rather than die upon their defeat. He thought it was unhealthy for children to equate the concept of death with losing a game, a philosophy very different from the likes of Midway's Mortal Kombat.
It's true, actually, because if you look at some of the old Pokemon manga, there is actually a scene where, what is
Manga.
it? Yeah. And Ekans gets, like, sliced right in half when it dies in battle.
Oh, yeah?
What did you just call it?
Ekans.
It's Ekans.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Ekans. That's how he says it.
Sure. Whatever you say.
I will pull it up and I will prove you wrong.
I'm not disputing you.
You don't sound like you're believing me either.
I am just going along with whatever you say. This is your topic, just like you trust me on mine.
It's Ekans.
Okay, so I said it wrong. Sorry to the Ekans.
I can't
but
tell if these two are fighting or not because
I don't know, but I'm really excited when my Ekans comes out.
he seems to be agreeing with you, but you're still debating him. I don't understand what's
Very
happening.
uneasy.
It's so tense in here now.
Despite low expectations,
I'm drinking some
like
Nugget.
the rest of this conversation about Pokemon.
Hey!
Pokemon sold rapidly
It is
due
gonna be
in
a
part to
long car ride
Nintendo's
home.
strategy of producing 2
Go
versions
separate.
of the game.
Why do you keep sighing?
I should repeat the whole sentence.
Tajiri.
Pokemon sold rapidly due in part to Nintendo's strategy of producing the 2 versions of the game instead of a single title, which prompted consumers to buy both if they wanted the exclusive Pokemon featured in the red and blue versions. Apart from simply buying both versions of the game, players could attain exclusive Pokemon by either linking to another player to battle or trade for them.
Or just buy them from my neighbor.
The
And
Snorlax
Oxycontin.
dealer.
The Snorlax poacher.
Several months later, the blue version was released in Japan as a mail order only special edition, featuring updated in-game artwork and new dialogue. To create more hype and challenge to the games, Tajiri revealed an extra Pokemon called Mew hidden within the game, which he believed created a lot of rumors and myths about the game and kept the interest alive. The creature was originally added by
Shigeki Morimoto.
as an internal prank and wasn't supposed to be exposed to consumers.
Isn't he an Iron Chef?
Yes.
That's weird that he put that in the game.
It was the secret ingredient.
It was not until later that Nintendo decided to distribute Mew through a Nintendo promotional event. However, in 2003, a glitch became widely known and could be exploited so anyone could obtain the elusive Pokemon. During the North American localization of Pokemon, a small team led by Hiro Nakamura went through the individual Pokemon, renaming them, with Nintendo's permission, for Western audiences based on their appearance and characteristics. Nintendo also trademarked the 151 Pokemon names in order to ensure that they would be unique to the franchise.
I'm glad they put a lot of thought into it, because I would have named it like
I was really
Bug
confused
Guy,
for a second.
That's
there.
really smart, though, of them.
Rock Guy,
Trademark those names.
Round Guy. Yeah.
Because I thought there was only 150, but then it was like, oh, we're talking about Mew and we're
Yeah,
adding him
Mew.
into it.
It's 151. But I mean...
Is Mewtwo part of it too? Like, would that make it...
So Mew was the original,
Yes,
and then
Mewtwo was the
Mewtwo was
clone.
supposed to be the clone, but
Yeah.
he became evil.
Yes.
So Mewtwo
'Cause he
is
hated his
150,
creators.
and Mew was 151 because, as we just said, it was not supposed to be released to the
Wait, how
public.
can Mewtwo be evil? Isn't that like saying, like, oh, that dog is a bad dog? That's like saying...
Did you ever see the Pokemon movie?
Yeah, seriously, you got to see the Pokemon movie.
But I
should
thought
go
if
see
they're
the Pokemon
animals, then
movie.
it's like saying that, you know...
I know what you're talking about.
Mewtwo is evil. He was like...
One of the most depressing scenes ever.
But you
That's
know,
so
all
sad.
clones are evil. You go to any
Yeah.
clone that's always evil.
That's true. We wouldn't have stormtroopers if it wasn't for clones.
So
That's not true. Commander Shepard from Mass Effect 2 is a clone of Commander Shepard from Mass Effect 1.
why don't you save that for the Mass Effect episode?
Okay.
I heard They Might Be Giants wrote a song about
So
Mass Effect
how
one
about
time.
this? In Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue, each one of those games had exclusive Pokemon, as
Yes.
we previously mentioned. And the concept was
I
that
believe one was Eevee.
you would no.
I think.
Eevee was in both of them.
Oh, was it? I thought one was Eevee.
There's an Eevee in Mass
Eevee
Effect
has
as well.
multiple evolutions, though.
Eevee has multiple evolutions depending on which stone you want to evolve her with. So you can
what do you
evolve
mean?
her with fire, electric,
Fire!
or water. So she could be Vaporeon or Flareon or
Electrion.
Electric. Yeah, maybe that was it. It
Boogie,
sounds
woogie,
about
woogie.
right. But in Pokemon Red, you had the ability to get Ekans, Arbok, Oddish, Gloom, Vileplume, Mankey, Primeape, Growlithe, Arcanine, Scyther, and Electabuzz. You could not get those in Pokemon Blue.
I'm
Electabuzz.
getting Electabuzz
Yeah.
right now.
In Pokemon Blue, you are able to get Sandshrew, Sandslash, Vulpix, Ninetales, Meowth, Persian, Bellsprout, Weepinbell, Victreebel, Magmar, and Pinstar. So some of those are all the original level and then the evolved version.
Because you said Mankey and Primeape.
Yes, and Mankey is the original and Primate is the evolved
Just like Sandshrew
version.
is the original, and then Sandslash is the evolution.
And Vulpix and Ninetales.
But what could you get in Pokemon Corduroy?
There is no Pokemon Corduroy.
Well, there should be.
There should be. Go on.
When you're done listening to this, here is something else you can sink your ear holes into.
Hi, I'm Kevin Hollifield,
And I'm Kevin McGinsey.
and we're your hosts of Film Forecast, a podcast where we predict films based solely on the trailers.
That's right, we watch the trailers, and then we tell you exactly what will happen in the film, without any issues ever.
That's right, exactly 100% accurate on what's going to happen in the film every single time.
We've never been wrong.
So check us out on Thursdays.
That's right, you can find us on all your favorite podcatchers, like Google Play, Stitcher, and iTunes.
This is Joe Jewett and Jack DeVos from the Over the Line Show on iHeartRadio.
Winner of the prestigious talk radio Pinewood Derby, and you're listening to Podcast 42.
Where are we?
I forgot. I don't know.
Chris is starting.
Is it me?
During the translation process.
During the
I'm so
translation
glad you took a picture of that
process,
for him.
It became apparent that simply altering the game's text from Japanese to English was impossible. The games had to be entirely reprogrammed from scratch due to the fragile state of their source code, a side effect from the unusually lengthy development time. I had to burp, sorry.
I thought you were looking at me about lengthy
No, I had to
development
burp.
time.
See,
Yeah, we were
that was
talking about
supposed
your
to be
script again.
subtle. So I moved my mouth away from the microphone that way that you could point it out. So I probably just could have burped into the microphone. As the finished red and blue versions were being prepared for release, Nintendo spent over $50 million to promote the games. Varying the series would not be appealing to American children. I still don't understand how they could have even thought that. The Western team thought that the cute monsters may not be acceptable by American audiences and instead recommend that they should be beefed up. Okay, now I'm understanding.
Because you think about what the time was.
We're violent.
I get it now.
We're violent people.
Because Mortal Kombat had also come out this time.
Did it?
That's
Mortal
why
Kombat
I had
was
my reference
awesome.
there, Chris. That's why I put the Midway reference.
Well, I thought you were just referencing
No,
it.
I was putting out relevant
being
game at the
ironic.
time. Oh, my God.
It's like
Isn't
rain
it
on your
ironic?
wedding day.
I was being contextual.
Okay.
As I always am.
Wow.
You're a robot, aren't you?
I know.
Just connected to
Canadian
my
robot
Cortana.
who doesn't get Canadian references.
President of Nintendo, Hiroshi Yamauchi, refused. Was that close, do you think, Jay?
Looks like
that's
it.
close.
Refused and instead viewed the game's possible reception in America as a challenge. The reprogrammed red and blue versions with their original creature designs were eventually released in North America over 2.5 years after Red and Green debuted in Japan.
Wait a minute. Red and green went out in Japan, but we got red and blue.
Yeah, I don't know. That might be a
Nintendo
typo.
always releases in Japan first.
Yeah, I know,
For
but it's
everything.
the colors that I'm confused
Yeah, I
about
think,
right
I think
now.
that was supposed to be red and blue because green was something like you got it in a cereal box or something. I can't.
Yeah, I thought that
remember.
was like a special one, like when they did like a re-release or something like that, trying to get people interested in the original Pokemon again.
No, I think green was like seriously. It wasn't in like a Pokemon or a cereal box, but I think it was like in a magazine. You had to order it.
Like a what was it, GameStop or whatever? Like
Yeah, it wasn't just sitting on the
Game
store
Pro?
shelves. You actually
Well, like
had to,
they did
have
for
it
Mew.
mailed.
Mew was like a not Mew. One of them was a mail to order, right?
yeah, green. I think green. So I think that was just a typo. I think it was
okay.
No.
red and blue debuted
No,
in Japan.
there was red and green originally released in Japan.
And then we just got red and blue.
And then we got red and blue.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, all right. Good job to me and you.
good job speculating.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I was confused by that a little.
I'm confused still.
Yeah, I don't even know what we're talking about.
And the games, of course, were received extremely well in the Western market.
Oh, finally, something I might know a little about.
You know what? You're gonna talk. I'm sorry, but I always thought the trading card game came first.
I did too.
I didn't realize it's the opposite way.
I'm learning stuff here. Nicole, thanks for picking this. I'm learning things.
Hold on, weren't they doing trading cards before?
No,
They were doing Pogs.
the video game.
It was
came
the
out
90s,
before.
so Pogs was the big thing. So you had to catch all the Pogs.
Gotta catch
I
them
think because
all.
we're getting
gotta
it
catch
mixed
'em
up Nintendo's own history. You think that's what it is?
I don't know. I just assumed that it was a trading card game and somebody turned it into a video game. That makes logical sense to me.
Yeah, I always thought the same thing too.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, let's talk about the trading card game.
Yeah, since like
Because, the Pokemon trading card game was published in Japan in 1996 by Media Factory. While other Pokemon card series existed in the past.
Oh,
All right, hey, there we go. They were
All
around.
we had to do was let JL talk. We would have covered everything.
I really wish everybody realized that. I just have to talk and we'll figure it all out. This was the first card game based on the Pokemon series. Oh, so we're half right.
yeah, no, this still Pokemon the video game came out way before
Yeah.
1996.
So the first Pokemon sets took inspiration from Pokemon Red, Green, and Blue video games and initially featured illustrations by Ken Sugimori, Mitsuhiro Arita, and Keiji Kanebuchi.
Oh, he's nailing those names.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to
JL-san.
say all
No
that.
wonder why you get all the big paragraphs.
I might have watched a lot of anime. Soon, new expansions began to release with many new artists contributing artwork. 3 years later, in 1999, Pokemon was introduced in North America by Wizards of the Coast, and then worldwide. 23.6 billion Pokemon trading card game cards have been produced worldwide in 12 languages and is sold in 74 countries. The popularity of the franchise also led to an anime series premiering in Japan on April 1st of 1997. The main character was a young Pokemon trainer named Satoshi, after Satoshi Tajiri, later dubbed in English to Ash Ketchum. Because that sounds exactly alike. Another character introduced in the first episode was Satoshi's rival, Shigeru, after Shigeru Miyamoto, later dubbed in English to Gary Oak.
Now,
Stupid Gary.
My two boys played Pokemon when they were little, when they were 5 and 3. And the oldest boy didn't read the instructions. Maybe they were 6 and 4. I don't know. He could read pretty well, but he didn't read the instructions. And how he played with his brother is he'd pick up one of his Pokemon cards, and he would tap his brother's Pokemon card and then say, I captured that card. So he just keep taking
that game.
He would just take all of his brother's cards, and then he couldn't figure out why his little brother never wanted to play with him.
Oh.
It
sounds like
was
a bully.
hilarious.
Looking back, it's really funny, but I'm sure there were some headaches involved.
Oh, yeah, he was crying. I'm like, you got to play the game right, Jamie. You got to play the game. He's like, I am playing the game. I'm playing it my way.
After he turns 10 years old, Ash Ketchum is allowed to start his journey in the world of Pokemon and dreams of becoming a Pokemon master, just like the theme song says. On the day he is to receive his first Pokemon, Ash wakes in a panic, having overslept. Professor Oak, the local... Yeah, now I can't talk anymore. The local
Are we shutting down your mic?
The local Pokemon researcher has already given away the 3 Pokemon, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle, just like we already discussed.
Yes, and your girlfriend's a
I just
Squirtle.
called a
And these are the
Poliwag.
3 Pokemon that Professor Oak entrusts to new Pokemon trainers. Anyway, he gave them away. The only
It sounds like you're giving up on life for some reason. What is wrong?
Nothing's wrong.
He's the worst Pokemon dealer ever if he's just giving away his supply.
I know.
That's
Here.
true, too.
He's like the Oprah of Pokemon dealers. Here, you get a Pokemon. You get a Pokemon.
Everyone gets a Pokemon!
Exactly.
But only from the basic 3, though.
Yes.
And that's a good starting point.
One of them
they're
has
basic.
a fire tail.
Exactly.
So
but
now
we learned that the water one is the one to go with.
Well, if you want to think about winning, but if you don't want to think about winning, one of them has a fire tail.
In all honesty, Blastoise is pretty badass.
He is pretty badass.
He has water cannons.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. So, if you want to look at the actual Game Boy games, you have Red and Blue, which were released in the U.S., and they focus on the main 3, Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. But then, after seeing how much popularity that Pokemon had, they came out with Pokemon Yellow, which kind of follows the premise of the show, where there were no more of those original 3 left. So Ash gets stuck with Pikachu. And in this game, it's kind of similar to the show where you have to gain Pikachu's trust and you have to make sure that he likes you and he follows you around.
She's going through the next part of the script.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Without
Go
even
on.
reading it. She just knows it all.
I just
She jumped
know.
over you.
Oh, my God.
She
Go.
took away
And that's
your
when she
thunder.
went and got a Chikorita.
Go
The only
on.
Pokemon that Professor Oak has left is, surprise, a Pikachu.
I feel like I already know this.
He gives it to Ash. Determined to make it on his journey, Ash does his best to befriend Pikachu, but it does not trust him and will not even return to its Pokeball. Pikachu even attacks Ash with his electric powers. That must suck. It is only after Ash protects Pikachu from a group of angry Spearow that Pikachu realizes how much Ash cares. Hold on one second. Nicole, didn't you say that the only thing that can attack an air Pokemon effectively is an electric Pokemon?
Because it's
That's
electric.
what he said.
That's what Pikachu is.
Boogie Woogie.
So yeah, why did Pikachu need Ash to protect him? He's electric.
Here's okay.
He's
a
tiny.
group.
It's like a ferret, you know?
It was a group of Sparrow.
Is
There
it
was
still turn-based when there's a group?
There's
Spearows.
163 Spearows.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
a lot coming right
And
at him.
Exactly.
And their,
Hold on, were
their
they
leader
Spearows?
was named Agnew.
There's not
were
even
they-
that many Pokemon at
It's
this time.
Agnew Spearows.
And were there Fearos there too?
Heroes?
Heroes?
Fearos.
That's the evolved version of Spearow.
is Fearo.
I don't have a joke for Fearow.
No, but I liked your Spearow Agnew joke.
Thank you.
Afterwards, they both see a mysterious and unidentifiable Pokemon that spurs both of them to work towards Ash's goal. Who's the Pokemon?
I don't know.
Why do we not know?
I don't know.
It was
Nicole?
Meowth.
Nicole, who do
Say
they
it
know?
again.
Who's the Mr.
It was Togepi.
She's not even paying
wait,
attention.
I'm
She's
sorry, I
just
was
like,
looking
I know
at-
all this. I don't need to pay attention to
I
all of
was
you.
I'm just going to start spewing out names of
I was
Pokemon.
trying to look up how much
It
a
was
Pikachu
Dragonair.
weighs.
Why? Why? Why is that necessary?
Why is that
You
necessary?
were saying that it's like the size of a ferret, so I was going to see how much
JL
a
said
Pikachu
that.
weighs.
I said
And-
Spiro Agnew.
This is what I'm saying. This is what's wrong.
The Spearow was attacking Pikachu because he was like the field mouse. It's just you go
Afterwards,
after.
they both see
I
a
need another
mysterious
beer.
and unidentified Pokemon that spurs both of them to work towards Ash's goal. Unidentifiable Pokemon. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
It
remember.
was a Moltres.
No.
Is that real?
It might have been.
It's a firebird.
It
I
might have
actually
been,
just got one the other day.
It's a
I
fire
think I might be the
bird.
only one in this room who still plays Pokemon Go.
Like you are. Like the Trans Am?
No.
Oh, that was a nice car.
Do you know what else was a nice car? The El Camino.
That's not a Pokemon.
Pikachu.
Yeah, but the
is
El
number
Camino was like the
25.
mullet of cars. Business up front and the party in the back.
I don't remember this car at all. I can't picture it. in
You
my
should
head.
picture
It's
an
like
El
a
Camino.
station wagon without the back.
Okay,
top.
so Pikachu is number 25 in the lineup of 151 Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. I got it. Yeah.
It's like a small truck.
Yeah, now you get the El Camino.
Like a bed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without like the roof.
One of my friends had that. It was weird.
What'd you find, Nicole?
A Pikachu is 1 foot 4 inches, so it's very small, and
Like a field mouse.
It is average 13.2 pounds.
See, there you go.
It is not the heaviest Pokemon. We know that.
No.
So a Spearow could
that'd be a
easily
Groudon.
pick it up and make it its prey.
Yes.
Law of the jungle.
Which
Hakuna
why
Matata
Ash
on
needs
this.
why Ash needed to help Pikachu.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, it's context.
Pika.
Shit wouldn't happen with a Pidgey.
Oh my god.
Or a rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat.
You're up, by the way, Nicole.
Along the way, Ash makes many human and Pokemon friends as he works his way through the ranks of the world's many Pokemon leagues. Ash befriends Water Pokemon Trainer and Cerulean City Gym Leader Misty, and then Pewter City Gym Leader and Pokemon Breeder Brock.
Brock was lame.
He's a breeder. Like, aren't breeders...
Brock was lame, and he was a pervert.
And he squinted.
How is he a pervert?
Because he hit on
way he
Nurse
looked-
Jenny
Nurse Joy.
and Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny all the time.
Without
And
fruition?
Does anybody else have a
All
problem with
the
the fact that
time.
all Nurse Joys and Officer Jenny's looked exactly the same?
Can we go back to this?
They were evil clones of each other.
Yes, they were. I actually agree with that.
Go back to what?
Nicole hates Brock, but she loves the rock hard snake that he has.
I did not say that I love... When did I say I loved Brock?
I said you hate Brock.
I hate you. I almost took a drink right there and spit it out on Nicole. Rock hard.
He is meeting all of them, all the while messing up the plans of the Team Rocket trio, Jesse, James, and Meowth, who want to steal Ash's Pikachu and any other rare Pokemon they come across, because Pikachu is very rare
Right.
and very powerful.
What was the name of the Pokemon that Jesse ends up getting later on that becomes like the 4th member of Team Rocket?
Was it the original? Because they
It
had
was more like
Meowth,
second series.
They
It
had
was the blue, like, globby looking thing.
Grimer?
I don't who?
Globoid.
Grimer?
No,
Grimer
not Grimer. No,
and-
it was a blue one. Grimer is like the
Purple.
evolution before Muck.
Yes.
No.
So I know they had Ekans and Coughing.
Yes, but she ended up catching something else later
I
on
don't
that
know.
never stayed in the ball like Pikachu did.
Syphilis.
I don't know.
That might be it.
That
No,
never
that
stays in the bottle.
That stays in the ball. You can't get rid of that. There have been many movies and 2 feature-length TV movies based on the show. The plot of every movie has involved an encounter with a legendary Pokemon. The movies are also used to promote new Pokemon that appear in new versions of the game and series.
All right, Nicole.
Yes.
Do you know the Team Rocket slogan they say?
Surrender now or prepare to fight. To protect the world from devastation, to unite all peoples within our nation, to denounce the evil of truth and love, to extend our reach to the stars above. Jesse, James, Team Rocket, blast off at the speed of light. Surrender now or prepare to fight. Meow, that's right.
I'm impressed.
Nobody else knew
Hold
that?
on.
You get points.
They want to save the world from devastation and stuff. Why
Yeah.
are they bad? How
Because-
are they bad?
Because they cause devastation.
There are a lot
it's
of
very
people.
confusing.
There are a lot of people who think they're doing good for the world that are doing very, very bad things
This
for
one,
the world.
Look at it. It's a Wobbuffet.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I do
Oh
remember
yeah.
Wobbuffet.
Yeah, but that was not.
And
the
Jesse's
original.
very effeminate.
No, that's James.
Or James is very effeminate.
Yeah, I was like, 'cause
It's a very
Jesse-
dominatrix type feel in their relationship.
Yes. The anime.
Wait, they're together?
Well, I don't know what
Doesn't
they
matter
are.
if they are or not. Either way, James is the submissive in this relationship.
You don't know if they're brother and sister or.
Yeah, I never thought
And
they
he
were in a
always
relationship.
played the feminine character.
Yeah.
Jesse was always the more masculine of the two.
And her
Wasn't
hair
that
was
she
always
was
on point.
masculine? She was just. She was overpowering.
He had the more
compared
effeminate
to
qualities,
him.
where she had the more masculine ones, where she took charge in the stereotypical ways that we would think.
Yeah, I suppose. All right, go on.
The anime quickly became very popular and soon inspired a... Now I don't know how to say this. Manga series called The Electric Tale of Pikachu.
Because he had an electric tail.
That's true. Which was written by Toshihiro Ono. And published on October 28th of 1997.
Did you know that's Yoko Ono's brother?
Is it really? Or are you just making that up?
It is. It's really your brother.
The more famous manga in the Western world, however, is Pokemon Adventures, with the first volume being published on August 8th of 1997. It was the most successful Pokemon manga with over 150,000 copies sold worldwide.
Where's that number again? 150. It's like 150.
Yeah.
The Pokemon magic number.
Oh, I guess it's true, although it needs another one.
Because they had to catch
Well,
them
I mean,
all.
they could sell one more comic book.
Pokemon!
No, that'd be another
I am
1,000.
so glad Chris gets to read this part.
That's true.
It's also the longest running manga in Pokemon history. Several other manga series were published in that era, including Pokemon Sensho and Pokemon Gotta Catch 'Em All.
That one's original.
Yeah. In addition to these manga series, on October 23rd of I meant to give you this paragraph, JL.
I know you did.
Oh, man,
because
I thought I
the
did.
Shogakukan published Pokemon Wonderland.
No, it's the further down.
Oh, no. I see that, and I've already laughed at that.
In addition to these manga series, on October 23rd of 1997, what did you say his name was?
Shogakukan.
Published Pokemon Wonderland, a magazine with the latest information on the franchise. They released a new manga series named Pokemon Pee-Pee Star Adventures.
Oh, God.
Later translated to Magical Pokemon Journey on March 28th, 1998.
Of course that translates to that.
I know. It's so much easier to say, and I'm so glad I didn't have to say it. Pee-pee-pee-pee.
The main difference in this series was that it was aimed mainly towards girls.
Oh, so
PPPP is named at girls.
Yes, PPPP.
So we name our PPPs at girls. Oh, God. This is so rough.
It is implied by Takeshi Shudo, the initial writer for the anime, that the creators of Pokemon had not anticipated the franchise would become so popular, and there were no actual plans to end the series. In his blog...
No, there were actual plans to end
Oh,
the
there
series.
were?
Yeah.
I can't read. I'm adding words. In his blog, Shudo announced he even had an ending drafted for the anime, in which the last episode reveals that an elderly Ash Ketchum hallucinated the entire events of the show. That makes so much sense now. This is supported in an interview with the president of the Pokemon Company. I hate you. Tsunekazu Ishihara.
You've done so well.
Who predicted the anime would end by 1998. Really? That's like a year later.
Yeah. They didn't think it was going to do good.
We've been saying that for like 10 paragraphs already.
I mean, seriously, they had no faith in this whatsoever. Shit's going to fail.
Just let's make them make 2 of it.
Yeah, here, just keep going. They're buying it. It's never going to last. Oh, shit, we're on like number 15. Pokemon, now a globally popular franchise, has left a significant mark on today's pop culture. The Pokemon characters themselves have become pop culture icons, with the obvious examples of 2 different Pikachu balloons featured in the Macey Thanksgiving Day Parade. Whew, it's a tough one. Pokemon jets operated by all...
Why are you giving so many names in this, Chris? I was wondering that.
Seriously.
There's so many names.
All Nippon Airways, thousands of merchandise items.
I believe it's pronounced Nippolon.
I think it is too. At a traveling theme park that was in Nagoya, Japan in 2005 and in Taipei in 2006. Pokemon have also appeared on the cover of Time magazine in 1999 because they partied like it was 1999.
I think they're a Man of the Year.
I think they were. There was even a live-action show called Pokemon Live, which toured the United States in late 2000 and was later replaced by the Marvel Universe live show that is still touring today.
Wow. I did not know that at all.
I have a fun fact. Sorry, that I was diligently looking up.
Is it also going to continue with the next part of the script? Like before?
It's not. It's going to back.
Are you trumping for Oz again?
It's going to backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, because we never do that.
When we were talking about what the first episode was and how he saw a mysterious Pokemon that they did not know what it was, and it was not coming up in his index. It was the Ho-Oh, which was a bird of flight.
One of the mythical birds.
Yes. But the surprising part about
I
that...
saw this movie.
No, Ho-Oh is that Chinese restaurant down the street.
No.
They are good, too.
It
Very
was...
good. I love their fried rice.
It was
I was gonna say,
one
their
of the
General Tso's
birds,
chicken's on point.
but it was not one of the original 151 Pokemon. So even in the first episode of the animated series that they released, they were previewing a second generation Pokemon and saying like, "Oh, there's no
spiting
doubt.
you, Nicole.
It was what?
Spiting you because you don't believe in anything other than the first generation.
Yeah.
She doesn't believe in evolution.
Can we go back to how you just said General Tso's? I've
No,
always
I
said General
Tso's.
So's.
It's actually pronounced General Tso. You just have to sound it out perfectly.
So.
You know how I order it?
So.
I say, "Can I have the General's chicken?"
The General.
I skipped that whole
Do you get insurance?
Can I have the
order
Colonel's
that
chicken next?
Yeah. Mild, please.
In November 2001, Nintendo opened a store called the Pokemon Center in New York's Rockefeller Center.
Yeah, they did.
Modeled after...
Wow. I've never heard her more excited about something. And she's like, yeah, they did. Oh, yeah.
It's because of the rock snake.
That was the #1 seller.
Between the ages of 15 and 35.
That's right.
Modeled after the other two Pokemon Center stores in Tokyo and
they
Osaka.
modeled it all right.
It took batteries. It vibrated.
Did it make noise?
No.
Onyx.
Yeah.
Rock snake.
The store sold Pokemon merchandise on 2 floors with items ranging from collectible shirts to stuffed Pokemon plushies.
It's now waterproof and you can control it with your phone.
The store
There's also a remote.
Wait, what?
No, keep reading.
Oh. Hold on. Now I have to burp.
It's nice to see the rock snakes working on you.
I don't know when it's going to come. But I don't
That's what she said. Hi, Nicole's mom.
The store also featured a
weird how
Pokemon
you say
distributing
that's your mom.
machine in which players would place their game in to receive an egg of a Pokemon that was being given out at that time. The store had tables that were open for players of the Pokemon trading card game to duel each other with an employee. I have to burp. I don't know what's coming.
Or an employee.
So
the employees weren't working. They were playing the
they were
game.
playing Pokemon.
That's awesome. I'd work there.
I would totally work there.
My son works there. He took everybody's Pokemon cards. That's why it's closed now.
Speaking of which, in May of 2005, Chris's son went there and closed the store, which was later replaced by the Nintendo World Store.
Yeah,
now
it
they
was.
just play Mario Kart.
Yay, Pokemon.
My sister is a frequent visitor of the Nintendo store in New York City, and they usually have big events when there are new video games being released. So you get to go and line up there and get to go in and download the game new.
Nice.
She gave me a couple of other facts because my sister Brianna is very knowledgeable about Pokemon.
But wait
because
a minute.
We should have brought her on as a special guest.
Are they gonna override my fishbowl facts?
What does it matter at this point? She already wrote the script.
Fishbowl facts. Facts from a fishbowl.
Let's
Facts
see
from a fishbowl.
if any of the fishbowl facts match your sister's facts, and if they don't, then read your sister's facts.
Fine, we will. JL, you go first.
There was
I'm shaking
bitterness
up
in
the
that.
fishbowl
Do I
facts.
go first then?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm excited about the fishbowl facts. It's one of my favorite segments. Right after my
Okay.
beer segment.
How many did your sister send?
She 1, 2, 3.
Girls, pick a
She
segment.
sent like a few.
Okay.
In March of 2000, Morrison Entertainment Group, a small toy developer based at Manhattan Beach, California, sued Nintendo over claims that Pokemon infringed on its own Monster in My Pocket characters. A judge ruled that there was no infringement. Fishbowl facts.
Did your sister say that one?
No.
I just burped quietly.
Thank
not
you.
if you told us.
Venusaur is a combination of the words Venus, which refers to the
Venusaur.
Venus flytrap plant. I guess that makes sense. And the Greek word "saur" meaning lizard.
Wow.
On December 16th, 1997, more than 635 Japanese children were admitted to hospitals with epileptic seizures. It was determined that seizures were caused by watching an episode of Pokemon Electric Soldier Porygon, Season 1, Episode 38.
The seizure episode.
As a result, this episode has not been aired since, but can we find it on YouTube?
I don't
Yes,
know,
probably.
Don't
Did
put the
you-
fishbowl fact back in there.
Yeah, don't do that. Did you know that the squinting pervert, Brock, his last name is rumored to be Harrison.
Brock.
Fishbowl facts.
Kakuna has been shown evolving more than any other Pokemon in the anime. Kakuna evolves into Beedrill. I don't know if you know that.
The Beedrill.
Did you know?
Because it's Weedle, Kakuna, and then Beedrill. And then there's Caterpie.
I thought Kakuna evolved into Matata.
Wait. Caterpie, Kakuna, and Butterfree, right?
I never watched Pokemon.
I know. I hate me too.
No, Kakuna evolved into Matata.
No. Ha.
Oh.
I see. Chris is trying to be funny.
No, I am
Okay,
being
you look-
funny.
I'm going to go into my Pokedex.
Okay, you
Right.
go into...
While you're doing that, I'm going to read a fishbowl fact. Bulbasaur is the only unevolved dual-type starter Pokemon.
Dual type?
Yeah, I don't know what that
Kakuna
means.
is the one that evolves into Beedrill.
Should we know what dual
So
type
what's
means?
the one
I have
that
no idea.
evolves into Butterfree?
Hold on.
I don't want to hold on.
They're looking up stuff. Read your fishbowl fact while they look.
Caterpie evolves into Metapod.
There you go,
which
Metapod.
evolves
Never mind.
into Butterfree.
And then
Gotta catch 'em all. Holy shit, look at these Pokemon that are here.
lots of Pokemon
Speaking
in
of
this area.
Pokemon, Charizard was voted as the favorite Pokemon by official Nintendo magazine readers in February 2012.
Told you, Firetail.
Fishbowl facts.
Kakuna Matata.
Well, you know what? Pokemon has been criticized by some Christians over perceived occult and violent themes and the concept of Pokemon evolution, which they feel goes against the Bible creation account in Genesis.
Oh my god.
Lame. Fishbowl facts.
That's 'cause they-
And I just caught a new Pokemon.
What'd you catch?
I caught a Fanpea.
Fanpea?
Yeah.
Is that an original 151?
No, it is not.
Exactly. In 1998,
I'm gonna
Nintendo
catch my
released...
favorite from the original.
In 1998, Nintendo released a Game Boy Color version of the trading card game in Japan. Fishbowl facts.
The first few seasons of Pokemon animated series were hand-painted cells and not digital.
Fishbowl facts.
Don't see that very often.
Wow. Pokemon Go mobile game was originally an April Fool's Day joke collaboration with Google and Nintendo, obviously, called the Google Maps Pokemon Challenge. Which is funny because Google Maps actually does do a lot of Nintendo jokes, like their Mario Kart one this year.
And they
It's
also
really
did
funny because
Where's
they totally
Waldo?
caught me because I'm playing it right now as we're talking.
You're Google
Yeah,
mapping
we know.
with Mario
We
Kart?
know you keep shouting.
No, he's
things.
playing Pokemon Go.
I am because it's amazing. Ooh, a live-action film is planned that will begin with a Detective Pikachu movie.
Yeah.
Isn't Ryan Reynolds going to be in that?
I don't know.
I think so. So Detective Pikachu was one of the other video games that they had, and now they're going to make it a live-action movie, which will actually probably be pretty interesting to watch. Speaking of Pikachu, Pikachu is often referred to as Japan's Mickey Mouse.
I can see that.
I can see it too.
I get the last fishbowl.
Fishbowl facts. Fishbowl.
Mickey Mouse often goes, Mika, Mika. While developing games, Satoshi Tajiri works irregular hours. I know we said the name all for last hour, but I still can't pronounce
What is it?
Satoshi Tajiri?
Satoshi Tajiri.
Yes, that's what I said. Works irregular hours, often laboring 24 hours at a time and resting 12 hours. The fishbowl facts!
Fishbowl.
Ash has never caught a fairy, steel ghost, or psychic type Pokemon.
There's fairy type Pokemon?
Yeah.
The
What
heck
a
is
steel
that?
ghost?
A ghost that's made of steel.
Yeah,
That doesn't
Duh.
make sense.
How's that even a ghost, though?
It doesn't make sense.
Ghost Rider rides on a motorcycle, so what does it really
This is
mean?
all the new stuff, and I hate it.
Bon Jovi rides on a steel horse.
And he's
That is
wanted dead
true.
or alive.
Yep.
That's what I've heard, at least.
Yep, that is actually true.
All right, read the last fishbowl facts, and then
Last
we'll do the
fishbowl fact.
We'll do the sister facts.
Bulbapedia is a wiki-based encyclopedia, is the internet's most detailed Pokemon database.
Awesome. Fishbowl.
Fishbowl.
Is that what? Is that what you used?
No, probably not.
Now it's time for sister
Okay.
facts.
Sister facts from Brianna. She sent me Rhydon was the first Pokemon ever created. He's the one who looks like a rhinoceros, but in skeleton type form. It's kind of weird. Cubone's original name was Orphon. Okay.
It sounds like it should be in Lord of the Rings.
A turtle Pokemon seen in the promotional art for Gold and Silver actually debuted as a fossil Pokemon in Generation 5 as Tirtuga. That's interesting. She also said
Tirtuga is really good after an Italian meal.
It's awesome. It's often thought that the Pokemon that Ho-Oh revived into Entei, Raikou, and
Zucchini?
Zucchini.
And Squash.
No,
Yes.
I don't believe you guys. At the Burn Tower, where Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon, respectively. This idea is supported by the fact that the stats of these Pokemon in how they're distributed, higher attack, special stat, etc., are the same. Also, the Kimono girls you fight before facing Ho-Oh all use the same evolutions.
That was really confusing.
Was that a run-on sentence?
This whole thing was confusing.
I'm a little
When did
confused.
the Digimon come about?
They
About
don't.
1998.
It's a whole separate thing.
They launched that when they thought Pokemon was gonna die because, as we heard and read, they thought it was gonna fail.
Nintendo
so I'm
bet
sure
on a failure.
Digimon came out going, "Well, hey, this shit's gonna fail. Let's release this, so that way at least one of them works."
To be fair, it's not the first time Nintendo puts their money on something they think is going to fail.
So, but in the
What do you
end,
mean,
Digimon
Wii U?
was not the
Wii
best.
U?
It was still entertaining and good, but Pokemon's way better.
It's
Yes.
a ripoff.
It is a ripoff. It's like GoBots and Transformers.
Oh, yeah.
But GoBots
Yeah.
came first.
Yeah, that's what? Yes, that's true.
GoBots
Actually,
came first.
They did,
Yeah.
but Transformers are way better.
Yeah.
The only cool thing is like some of the names that you get from GoBots, like Psykill.
Well, we'll have to do a
Whoa.
GoBots episode.
and there's also Ghostbusters and the real Ghostbusters.
Real Ghostbusters is
Yep,
the
all the
shit.
way.
All right, well, let's get into the email.
Who wants to tell us our email address? Anybody?
I know it.
Anybody?
I know it.
I think
I know it.
Is
I know it.
What is it?
podcast42@gmail.com?
No.
Podcast 42
No.
show, I think.
Thank you.
There you go. Perfect.
Oh,
I should know. I drop all my scripts in there
I'm
for
sorry.
Chris
I've been
to
locked
read.
out of the email for like a month.
You know what I'm going to do?
That explains why I haven't been able to
I'll
get
tell
on
you
the
off the air.
email.
Okay. Podcast42show@gmail.com if you want to send us anything. We've got an email from Party on Darth. I guess that's the
I
person's
love Party on Darth.
most
He's been a
people
loyal
do.
listener for a long time.
Yep. Party on Darth.
Thank you for
Party on
emailing
Wayne.
us multiple times. We all know Chris is obsessed with Nicolas Cage and Jeff Goldblum. But what actors are Nicole, JL, and Faraz obsessed with? Oh boy, who am I obsessed with?
Is that an actual email?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Why else would we read it?
Oh,
How many am I
boy.
allowed to say?
Just pick
Give
your,
us your
top
top
two.
five.
My top five?
Top five, fine.
Or two.
Top five.
All right.
Top
The Rock-
three. We'll split down the middle.
The top three?
Yes.
The Rock, Jason Statham, and Tom Hardy.
Wow, you were ready to go. I would have to think about this.
Yeah.
No, because I'll tell you right, I saw Rampage opening night. Rock's awesome. I'm excited about the new movie with Jason Statham, The Meg, which is probably going to suck with the giant shark, but I'm going to see it anyways. It doesn't matter. And Tom Hardy's phenomenal as an actor.
Did you know
Tom
Tom
Hardy is
Hardy
really good.
played the gorilla in Rampage?
I did know that.
Okay.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I
he
just
did a
made it
phenomenal job.
Wow.
He did the whole like Andy Serkis thing. He did the stop motion for it.
Oh.
Nicole?
It's really difficult. And the funny part is I saw this email before we even started recording it. And I should
And
have
you didn't
probably
think about
thought
it?
more about
Well,
it.
think of it this way. They release a movie in the theater, and you're like, I got to see that just because of the actor. Anybody come to mind?
I
for
know.
that?
Jim from The Office.
I would totally go see his new movie. It looks phenomenal.
I am
I saw
going
it. It
to
was
probably
awesome.
see
Was it?
Really good.
A Quiet Place.
Very good. Highly
I
recommend
want to
it.
see that probably tomorrow.
He directed
Everybody
it
dies.
also.
Yeah.
Everybody's dead at the end.
Why are you telling me that, Chris?
It's just like The Village.
I was actually going to say, you were talking about Jim from The Office. I was going to say Steve Carell because he is actually very good at playing multiple different roles. I think Steve Carell is very good. I think
I find him to be
You like
very
Emma Stone.
underappreciated.
Emma Stone is pretty good. And they were both in the same movie. Who?
Christian Bale.
I like Christian Bale.
Christian
I'm
Bale
going
is-
through my list too, just because I'm adding some.
Stop imposing your list onto my list.
Did you know Gerard Butler has range because he was not only Leonidas in 300, but the Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah,
in the Phantom of the
I
Opera
watched
movie.
both.
I did not see Phantom
Do
of
you
the
know
Opera
John
with him in it.
Kazarinsky also wrote and directed A Quiet Place?
I
John-
didn't.
First of all, pause. It's
I
John
heard
Krasinski.
That's what I said.
No, you did not say
I heard
that.
John Krasinski might also
It's
be Mr.
Krasinski.
Fantastic in the Fantastic Four reboot.
Do you know
Really
John
put them
Krasinski
in.
is married to
Wow.
Emily Blunt, who is going to
Who
be the
is
new Mary
supposedly
Poppins?
rumored to be Invisible Woman when they finally do the
Oh,
reboot.
that'd be really cool.
She is the
I
new
also
Mary.
heard Chris Evans might reprise his role as the Human Torch.
Oh,
I
come
heard
on.
John
No.
Krasinski skis. It's got a beard oil treatment.
It
coming
looks
out.
hot.
What?
Did you know that
What is
John Krasinski was also
I
in
hate
that
you
one
guys.
movie?
He's going all the way.
What was it about Benghazi?
Yes, he was in the Benghazi movie, and he was also in It's Complicated. He was also in License to Wed with Robin Williams and Mandy Moore.
Yes, and
in
John
a lot.
Kinraski is also going to be in the new Jack Ryan series that's on Amazon.
You know John Kawasaki?
I hate you guys
What?
so much.
He's a motorcycle
John
guy.
Kawasaki is a motorcycle
It's
guy.
not his name. His name is Krasinski. John Krasinski.
That is exactly what we just
That's
said.
not what you said.
All right,
I
Froz,
think
did
you're
you
just
say
hearing
any
things
actors
wrong.
at all? Did you give
Who are
anybody?
your favorite
Well,
actors?
Though they're
I
not
heard
thought
him-
of as actors,
Geddy Lee.
Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert come
That's
to
fine.
mind.
That's fine.
And then Salma Hayek, because she was always hot when I was growing up.
She's
And
still hot.
is. And still is.
She's still hot.
Okay, we have to hurry up because I really have to pee. Jenny
You
emailed
should've thought
us
about that
saying.
before we started.
I've been peeing.
Jenny emailed us saying
How did you
is
spell that? Is it Jenny?
JENNY emailed us
8675309.
saying is Florida really as weird as the news makes it? Yes.
Of
Yes.
course, it's
weird
hot.
shit. Here's the thing that most people
there's
don't
lots of bugs.
understand. People view Florida as the retirement space because, you know,
Only in
it's
the
hot,
villages.
it's warm, and it's very cheap to live here. So everybody from the country who wants to retire in a place that's warm because old people freaking hate the cold, and they want to retire somewhere that's cheap and they can save most of their money and spend their retirement money well. So all the old people are coming from all over the country, and people from all over the country coming here are going to make for really, really weird news.
I don't know if it's still that cheap as his reputation had because of the real estate.
It's pretty cheap
situation.
still.
I have to say, for
We're all
such
gonna be
an easy
underwater
answer
soon,
where all you
but-
had to say was yes, that was very drawn out.
You know, but it's cheap
And
and
easy.
it's all going to be underwater soon. We just have to remember that. But
There's also something with Florida, and they release their media something or other where other states don't, and that's why you see a bunch of weird news stories
Florida
come out
does
of
have
Florida.
some of the weirdest news.
Yes, because
That's
there's
their
some sort of
Alligators ringing
service where
doorbells.
the other states don't have it, but Florida is able to release like every bit
Dumb
of
thing that
information.
happens.
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
But we have the big lizards.
Do you know John Kapazinski is from Florida originally?
No.
I
did
did
not
know
know
that
that.
actually.
did you know he and BJ Novak went to school together?
Who's BJ Novak?
Wait, that sounds familiar. That's the guy that played. He was on the
Was he
Office too.
Kojak?
He was
No, he's
Kevin.
BJ and the Bear.
Ryan.
I don't remember their names.
Brian.
He was Ryan. Brian Bamberger played Kevin, and
Who's
BJ
Kevin?
Novak.
Oh, Kevin was. The
Wasn't
bald
that
guy.
the original host of American Idol?
I hate you guys so much right now.
Oh, this is the Office people.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay, I didn't watch The Office. We've discussed.
Did you
this
know
many
that Rainn
times.
Wilson was in House of a Thousand Corpses?
Did you know Rainn Wilson grew up in Nicaragua?
Did you know
Who's
that
Ray
he's the
Wilson?
rocker?
Did you know he plays the bassoon?
Did you know he's in the new movie with Jason Statham called The Meg?
Did you know he was in Juno?
Maybe
you know I
this
didn't
is the
know that?
person they both obsess over.
I guess. What do you think of the beer?
I think it was pretty good.
Beer's pretty good. You know,
I would
for
give
a-
it a 4 because it's too gaseous. It made all of us burp.
It's too ghastly.
Here's the
Yes,
thing.
it made me coughing.
For me, for a beer that was supposed to be hop heavy, it felt very malty, and I don't know why. It's 7.5%. It's 93-ish IBU is what it says. And I felt it was more malty than it was hoppy. I would probably get it a 3 because I feel like I'd get bored of it after a while.
You know, I'm going to agree with your 3 only because my first sips, I hated it, and then I liked it, and then towards the end, I hated it again. I'm giving it a 3.
I kind of have to agree with Nicole's malty
I felt
observation.
it was hoppy.
I'm not because maybe because I've been drinking 2 High Lies and next to the Highlight, it's not. But
Highlight is the gift of beer.
I feel like I need a palate cleanser when transitioning between beers. Maybe we could look into that.
Okay.
You have a water right next to you.
I know. I have a water too.
Hey, Froz, by the way, what's the rating system?
I feel like that's not necessary.
I feel it is because I promised everybody that you would do the rating system, and I don't want to come off as a liar on the show.
So, I was going to give a rating just now before I was so rudely interrupted at a 5-point scale, which, again, makes more sense
But
to
that's
me.
wrong.
And I would have given it a 1 out of 5 on the 5-point scale because you can't do decimal points. However...
We can. You can.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
Because Chris has left many of beers that he's never finished.
He's done a sip.
Hold on. Wait.
That is true.
Hold on.
I
was about a
taste.
5-point
The
scale.
sip was a good one.
Now we go over to the 6-pack rating system.
Yes.
In which
The
case...
only true rating system.
Because there can
In which
be
case-
only one.
There'll be one rating system to rule them all.
You rank it on how many of the 6-pack you can drink.
Yes. So good.
That makes sense.
That seems very sensible.
I don't understand.
So
the more I talk about it, the more it makes sense in my ears. But I
he doesn't want to admit that.
acknowledge that this system exists.
Fair
so,
enough.
on a 5-point scale...
No, 6-point.
On a 6-pack scale,
Yeah,
I could
buddy.
probably do a 0.5.
Half of
Wait.
one beer.
You went down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Half of
no,
one
listen.
beer.
I went 1 on a
you went
5-point
1
scale.
out of 5, which means if there were 5 beers, you could drink more than
No, it's
one.
a 5-point
Right.
scale.
But there are 6 beers in the 6-pack, but
this
you
is
would
how much-
only drink half of one
This
beer.
isn't how
out
the
of-
5-point works, though.
We're not on a 5-point. We're on
on
a
a 5
This
point.
is
On a
exactly
6.
why on the 6-pack scale I give it 0.5.
You
I
would
could
be-
drink about half. It's very malty, and I'm not... After the highlights, I
I'm
think...
so confused.
What?
I am so confused, too. These Canadians and their metric system are killing me.
I
I like the label more than I like the beer.
That's fine.
How many kilometers could you drive per hour after drinking half a beer?
Half of which beer?
I don't know. Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are
I'm
you?
sure he'll send you a 5-page dissertation on how many kilometers he can go in like 5 different paragraphs.
Nicole's got to pee. We're wrapping up.
I will
Yes.
message you later on
Please.
this subject.
Oh, my God.
while he's driving the kilometers
so
per hour.
bad.
Because I can use voice messaging.
Don't,
What's wrong with
do not
voice
use
mess-
the fishbowl to pee in.
It's called a chamber
No.
pot.
Do not use this. No, Nicole. No, put that away.
I was about to ask you, can we just get a
No
chamber
squirrel
pot?
You
here.
wrap this up for us. I really have to pee.
I'm done.
Say your name.
Faraz, your girlfriend has to squirtle.
Say your name. Say your name.
I am Faraz. Hey.
I'm Jail Troegs.
I'm Nicole Fasone.
I'm Christopher DeVos.
and I'm going to pee.
Bye.
You are no longer listening to Podcast 42.
Some of the stuff you just heard might have been embellished, made up, or just plain incorrect. In other words, don't use this show to write a book report with. You will get a bad grade. Just like all the hosts.
But I'm not done yet.
JL's Beer Cooler is written and performed by Cremo. Cremo is an award-winning actor and musician. For all things Cremo, including more great music, visit Cremo.com. That's spelled C-R-A-Y-M-O. He is on Twitter at Cremo. Facebook, just search Cremo Music, and also on YouTube under, you guessed it, Cremo.